Hey everyone, it's Sarah, and today I'm going to be talking about a house that I don't have any full bottles of here, but I do have a ton of samples of. It's a house that a few of you have requested that I kind of give you some feedback on, and that is the house of Hildi Soliani. So, and I think I'm saying that correctly. I hope I'm not butchering it. So Hildi Soliani is a predominantly Gourmand house that can be found on luckyscent.com. So I'm sure that they are available elsewhere, but the only place that I have seen them is on Lucky Scent. So I do not own any full bottles of any of these fragrances. I do only have samples here. I do have 9 different samples, different fragrance samples here. These little 1 ml samples were $4 a piece, so quite pricey for a little 1 ml sample, but I was excited to get my hands on these and to give them kind of a test. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump into this. Disclaimer, if this is your favorite house in the world, I mean no disrespect to you, this is not personal, and not to say that I don't like these fragrances, but because I know I'm not going to rave about any of them because I think they have longevity issues, this might not be the video for you to watch. So if this is your favorite house in the world, please don't get offended by my personal opinions on what I have experienced with this house. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the fragrances that I have to talk about here. So the first one that I have to talk about is called Vani Choc. I am also going to be giving you some alternatives to these fragrances because while testing these fragrances out, I did find that some of them are quite similar to fragrances that I already own and have in my collection, so I can give you some alternatives to these fragrances. So again, the first one we're going to talk about is called Vani Choc. I think I'm saying that correctly. So this is described as being, or I should say the notes on this are citrus accord, vanilla, almond, and sandalwood. That is something I'm going to stop right here and go ahead and mention. Most of these perfumes are very, very simple. They are not complex in nature. They are simple gourmands. These do go for $160 a bottle, so they are not cheap. So just keep that in mind as I'm kind of going through these fragrances. So to me, on my skin and to my nose, this fragrance here smelled like Angel. It smelled like a softer, kind of more wearable version of Mugler's Angel. Sorry, I don't know why I couldn't spit that out. To Angel. So this is a hint sweeter, but the dry down of this is very, very similar to my nose, to Angel. Angel has very, very superior staying power as far as if you were comparing these two. This is going to disappear after about 4 hours. Yeah, you'll get about 4 hours max, and even out of the bottle, it smells very, very similar to Angel. I just got it on my finger. It's a little bit more citrusy than Angel, but the dry down of this is very similar. So I will also mention that these little 1 ml samples aren't always the best way to kind of gauge how a fragrance is going to perform, just because you darn near have to use the entire bottle of the sample or the entire sample in one go to really see how something is going to kind of wear, because typically you're going to get more fragrance on you with a spray application. I feel like I don't always have the best luck dabbing fragrance on, so admittedly I might not have like the best grasp on how some of these perform. To me, most of these performed pretty poorly. I didn't get a longevity out of, like a good longevity out of any of them. But with that being said, I do want to put another disclaimer in there that I feel like dabbing isn't the best application method. I feel like you can get a better feel for something when you spray it. That's just my opinion. So anyways, on with these. So again, this is like it's a very similar fragrance to Alien. Think of a softer, more citrusy Alien. Really, really nice though. It's a really beautiful, beautiful fragrance. Okay, the next one I have to talk about is one that I've heard quite a few people, well, not quite a few, but definitely a few people here on YouTube talk about, and this is Orgasmo. So this is a predominantly almond fragrance. So if you're looking for an almond fragrance, this one would definitely fit the bill. This is almond, amaretto, liqueur, accord, and that's it. So almond and amaretto, liqueur, accord. And this is really, really beautiful. These are so hard to open too. Oh gosh, it's a beautiful almond. It's just a really beautiful, soft, powdery, yummy, gourmand almond fragrance. If you're looking for like a true almond fragrance, this would definitely be a good one. Again, this one on me did not have any lasting power at all. I think I got about an hour out of this before it turned into a complete skin scent. There was definitely no projection on this. And I will tell you, just because I have one that I just put on my hand right before I started filming 5 minutes ago, that it was nice and strong when I very first applied it. And now it's dried down to, I can't smell it. Sitting here with my hand right next to me, I cannot smell it at all anymore. I can smell it a little bit when I get it right up to my nose, but I have to really dig my nose in there to smell it. So that's just my opinion. If any of you have full bottles of these fragrances or have been able to test them, spraying them on you, please let me know what the longevity has been for you. Because that is one thing that I don't have a good grasp on, because I haven't been able to test it with a sprayer. But I just have a feeling that it's more to do with the composition of the fragrance and the materials used that are making it, and not to say they're not absolutely the top quality ingredients. I do think that they are. I just think that they are not, they just don't last very long. So anyways, Orgasmo is a really beautiful almond fragrance. If you are looking for an almond fragrance, I think this would be a beautiful one. Just don't expect a ton of, don't expect a ton of like wear time or a really good performance on it. So that's my experience. The next one that I got is called Crema di Latte, and the notes on this one are milk, sugar, and vanilla. Now, when I wore this on my skin, I got a very strong coconut note, and I know that there is not coconut in this, but on my skin, the composition of those notes together dried down to a very like coconutty scent. So it's out of the bottle, this one in the bottle smells a little bit like sour milk. It's definitely different, but on the skin you get it. It's a little bit more complex. However, the deep dry down of this one goes to straight milk. So if you're looking for a fragrance that is going to smell like milk, that you would maybe want to layer, and that's what I would say what this fragrance would be good for, would be for layering, because you're not going to get, it's very, very simple, and like I say, the dry down of this one is just like a straight up milk note, like a creamy milk. So with that being said, I do think that this would be a good layering perfume to layer with maybe a coffee fragrance or a stronger vanilla fragrance, or anything that you wanted to make kind of creamier. I think this would be great for that application. This I didn't, again, the longevity was pretty poor. I got a couple of hours out of this max, and yeah, it was not mind-blowing. Again, just kind of like a milk note. That was what the deep dry down of that is. Okay, I probably better move it along, or this is going to be a really long video. The next one I have to share with you is called Avatar, and I also have a alternative for this one as well. The notes on this one are caramel, sugar, milk, and biscuits. And this was one of the better performing fragrances. This one definitely lasted on the skin a little bit longer. This was like in the 4-hour range for me. It's really nice in the bottle. You can definitely smell the I guess stronger, or you can smell the stronger notes, things that make it last a little bit longer. The alternative for this one would be pink sugar, though. On me, the dry down of this one was totally pink sugar. It smelled exactly like pink sugar on my skin. I actually prefer pink sugar a little bit more. This is $160 a bottle. Pink sugar is like $12.99 if you can find it in TJ Maxx, or on Fragrance Net or something, you can get it for really inexpensive. So this one, even though it was definitely one of the better performers and I really enjoyed this one, to me it smells exactly like pink sugar, so I don't think it's worth the $160 price tag, though it's a really nice fragrance. Okay, the next one I have to talk about is called, sorry, I'm looking down at my notes here, is called Il Tempo del Mele. I'm probably butchering that again. So this one I was really excited about because it's got an apple note in it. This one is milk, apple, vanilla, and I think that's just it. Milk, apple, and vanilla. And this one, like I say, I was really excited about because of the apple note, and that's what you get when you smell this in the bottle. Oh my gosh. You get this beautiful, like, sweet, crisp, true apple smell. And I'm not talking apple like Be Delicious apple. This is a true, like, you just bit into a Granny Smith apple. Oh, it's heaven. And it's almost like a caramel apple because there's a sweetness in there that's almost like a caramelized fragrance. So if you're looking for like a caramel apple fragrance, this one is for you. This is stunning. This is definitely one of the more unique ones that I tried. And I have never smelled quite such a fresh, true apple like note in a perfume as the one that you can smell in this. Now, the dry down of this one isn't wonderful. It's kind of, the apple note goes away, and that's what's so sad about this, is you get this beautiful apple in the bottle and in the initial application, but then the apple quickly fades. You don't smell apple at all anymore, and really what you're left with is like a sweet milk note. And that is a kind of a running theme that I ran into testing all these different fragrances. The kind of one string that ties this entire house together, in my opinion, is a milk note. Everything seems to have like a milk note. Everything seems to dry down to either a milk note or a vanilla. I feel like the top notes just kind of fade away, and then you're left with either milk or vanilla, or possibly caramel, or something like that. So yeah, it's really sad. I feel like if those top notes kind of could stick around for a little bit longer, I would be way more inclined to purchase like a full bottle of one of these. Okay, with that being said, let's move right along. I've got 4 more to go. I'm sorry this is taking so long. Okay, the next one I have to share with you is called Buonissimo, and this is basically chocolate coffee. This one was made exclusively for Lucky Scent, so they don't have the actual notes listed on their website, but when I applied it and when I smell it in the bottle, this is a beautiful chocolate coffee, and it's a sweet chocolate. It's a soft chocolate. It's not like an in-your-face loud chocolate. It's just beautiful, and it's the most beautifully blended coffee fragrance that I maybe have ever smelled. It's gorgeous. This is blended so beautifully. There is no distinct line between the coffee and the chocolate. You can't smell either of those notes distinctly. You don't smell like a really strong chocolate or a really strong coffee. It's just the most beautiful blended, or beautifully blended, I should say, like fuzzy, warm, sweet, chocolatey coffee fragrance, and it's really beautiful. So this one, the longevity on this is okay. Again, I would say that this was one of the better performers as far as the ones that I picked up. This is a stunning coffee fragrance. I absolutely love this one, and I feel like it's one of the more unique ones because I feel like it's very difficult to do coffee really well. A lot of times coffee comes off as being much too aggressive in fragrance. A lot of times the coffee, especially in women's fragrance, it's easier to pull off, I feel like, in men's cologne, but in women's fragrance, if the coffee is not done well, it's just too pungent. It almost turns sour and screechy on the skin, but this one is just done to perfection. It's gorgeous. That's one of the ones that I would definitely recommend. Okay, the next one I have to talk about is called Connafetto, and this is another one that I've heard spoken about here on YouTube. This is orange blossom, almond, and sugar. So it's, again, very simple composition, and it's really nice. This one is very spicy on the skin, to be completely honest, and I even wrote that in my notes. This is spicy, it's sweet. This one is very, very unique as well. And on my skin, I don't know if any of you remember, and I don't know if, and I know you can still get it like around where I grew up, but I don't know like how widely available it was. But when I was a kid, we used to, or my parents used to get me this rice candy, and it was either Japanese or Chinese. It was like a rice candy, and it came in a green and red box, and you would take it out of the wrapper, and the actual gummy candy, or like, it was this very odd consistency of a candy. It was wrapped in rice paper, and you could actually eat the rice paper, and which to me, when I was a kid, I thought was the coolest thing ever, that I could eat the paper that this candy was wrapped in. So anyways, that was a long story to tell you that that's what this fragrance reminds me of. It reminds me of how that rice candy used to smell. It's so nostalgic for me. That's what the dry down smells like. In the bottle and the kind of initial application of this is very spicy, sweet, and I don't smell any orange blossom in this at all, which is crazy because that's like one of the 3 notes and you would think I could smell it. But the other 2 notes, let's see, well, it's, I don't even know. I'm like confounded right now because it says orange, almond, and sugar. And to me, none of those things should be spicy, but this smells very spicy, even in the little sample. On my skin, it felt very spicy, smelled very spicy until it dried down to that really beautiful like rice candy scent. So one of the more unique ones. The lasting power on this, again, was not great. I got a couple of hours out of this, but I really do enjoy that one. Okay. Okay, the next one that I have to talk about is called Tira L'altra. I probably just butchered that. And the one note that's listed for this is cherry. I can tell you that this is a very unique take on cherry. To my nose, this was very powdery. On my skin, it was very powdery. And in the bottle, it smells like a very light, sweet, almost like a maraschino cherry liquid, like the liquid that the maraschino cherries come in. I imagine that that's what this kind of smells like. It's kind of a very light, syrupy, sugary, little tiny bit powdery cherry. This is not an in-your-face cherry. I don't know that it would even be, that if somebody smelled it on you, they would even detect that it's cherry, even though that's like the only note that's listed in it. This is definitely not like Tom Ford's Lost Cherry. It's not like any of the other cherry fragrances that I've ever tried. So it's definitely a unique take on cherry, but only because it's not like outwardly or like overtly cherry to my nose. It's just kind of like this soft, nondescript, kind of sweet perfume with maybe a hint of cherry in the background. Longevity on this, again, was not good. And again, it kind of dried down to a very generic kind of just vanilla sweet smell at the end of the day. It didn't really, the cherry fades very, very quickly. So, okay, and the last one is one of the ones that I absolutely adored the most. This is called Donna Sentenza. Donna Sentenza. And the notes on this one are banana, cream, and vanilla. And this is so, so good. If you're looking for, and I'm dying to get my hands on the Comptoir Sud Pacifique. banana fragrance that they have. I'm like dying to try that. And I don't have any other banana fragrances really to reference, but this is straight up banana runts candy. If any of you remember the runts candy that had the bananas in it, that's what this smells like in the bottle. It smells like banana candy and it's gorgeous. And this is the one that I've got on my hand right here. And when you first apply this, you get the most beautiful banana candy fragrance, and it's so good. But I'm literally within like 1 minute, the banana completely fades, and then it starts turning into this kind of very dark vanilla fragrance that has this like weird synthetic note to it. And I think what that is like the banana is obviously a synthetic note, and that's what I'm thinking. I don't know for sure, but I'm thinking that the banana is synthetic, obviously, and then when that kind of banana starts to fade away, you're left with the kind of synthetic note to the banana that's kind of mingling with this like really dark, deep vanilla. And I'm telling you, I just applied this 15 minutes ago now, and it's gone. I mean, it's all but gone. I can't smell it on me at all. I can smell maybe like a little very faint vanilla in the background, like on my hand, but almost nothing. So it's so sad to me that this fragrance is so beautiful in the bottle, and it's so beautiful when you very first apply it, but it just quickly fades and just dries down to nothing. You lose that beautiful banana note, which is what you would buy this for, to smell like banana candy, if that's your thing, if that's what you wanted to smell like. But you would smell like it for about 30 seconds to a minute, and then you wouldn't even smell that banana note anymore. So it's really sad. So overall, I would say this house is beautiful. The fragrances are gorgeous. They're really they're what you would want to smell like. I mean, these to me are Gourmand fragrances that are so wearable, so beautiful. Some of them are so unique. They're very natural smelling. Most of them are not synthetic smelling at all. They're very natural and beautiful smelling. And they may be made with really natural ingredients, which might be why the longevity and like the kind of performance of them isn't the best. So, which I'm not totally sure. But overall, I just find these fragrances to be really beautiful smelling. And I would love to own a full bottle of every single one of them, except for the fact that I'm not willing to pay $160 for something that I'm going to spray on myself that is going to be so fleeting. That's literally going to last, 4 hours max in the best case with some of them, and then the worst case like 30 minutes to an hour with others. So I hope that this video was helpful for you. Those samples, like I say, are available on luckyscent.com if you're interested in any of them. I think you can pick them up for $4 a piece. So if anything kind of piqued your interest, definitely it's worth definitely getting a sample of one before you go ahead and opt for a full bottle. So again, I hope this was helpful for you. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give this a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.